All right, what's up, SML? Welcome back to Stone Searching. It's been a hot minute. Since we've last recorded, we've had like the blip. I think three-quarters of us got COVID. Everybody's got new teams. It's all been wild, but we're finally here. Two of us at least. DW is on the road today. Clink bailed on our 2:30 recording time at 2:27 in typical Clink style. But it's me and Q. What's going on, buddy? How you doing today?
What's up, brother? Glad to be back. Like you said, since the blip, lots happened, a lot's changed. Excited to kind of get back out there.
Yeah, absolutely. We were kind of hoping to hold out and get more of us on this thing, but at some
Yeah,
point you just got to bite the bullet and do it. Happy to see the return of Total Access. We got a The Truth episode the other day. Happy to see some SML shows kind of resurfacing. I think everybody took a little bit of time to adjust after we got blipped, but we're back and it seems like we got a lot to talk about. A lot going on in the SML. We're going to kick things off with a little buy or sell. This is going to be the AFC edition. AFC, quite the interesting conference right now. A lot of names kind of at the top of standings that you wouldn't expect. We'll kick it off in the AFC South, leading the division at 7-1 and in play for the 1 seed currently. Everyone would expect Prime, but we're looking at Matt and the Jacksonville Jaguars at 7-1. The big key for that is the defense right now. Just absolutely stellar. Number 2 in total yards, number 4 in pass yards, number 5 in rush yards, and number 5 in points. So Matt is just locking guys down with the Jags. Are you buying or selling Matt in this elite defense?
yeah, I'm gonna buy. The reason I'm gonna buy though is because of his style of offense as well. If you haven't been noticing, the last couple wins that he's had, Etienne's getting 20 plus touches every game, and that means the clock is burning when you're running the ball and you're getting the ball into the running back's hands that often. So when you're playing ball control offense, and then you got some good stud guys. We saw what Bomber did last cycle with the Jags defense, and Matt's kind of not quite there yet with them, but we know they have studs, and we know they Matt's a capable defender to make it happen. I don't know that when he plays, the better guys, if he's going to be able to quite do that. I mean, he's played some good guys already this year, but when he gets into the playoffs, it's a little bit different. And if guys kind of key in on Etienne and lock him down, I don't know how his defense is going to hold up when he doesn't have as much, or when he is on the field a lot more with defense. So for now, I'm buying, but we'll see how it goes as he continues to play a little bit better teams.
Yeah, for sure. That offense definitely has some warts. Looking at Trevor Lawrence's numbers, he's called himself a passing team for most of this season and last season. For a passing team, 1,500 yards, 9 touchdowns, 6 of which to DJ Shark, and 5 interceptions. So the passing offense has some issues. But, I mean, ETN, as you said, currently in the top 5 of rushing, 913 yards in the season, 9 touchdowns. He has spin cycle, and Matt has adjusted quite well to spin cycle, as we've seen. He's making guys miss left and right. But, yeah, this defense he's just getting contributions from everyone. He's got 8 sacks from the real Josh Allen, who's absolutely balling out. He's got 5.5 sacks from his rookie, Calvin Hickman. He's got 2.5 sacks from Clavon Chason. He's got picks up and down the board, 4 from Shaq Griffin, 4 from Rudy Ford, 3 from Rayshon Jenkins, 2 from Trey Herndon, 3 from Tyson Campbell. He's even got the ghost of Earl Thomas out here snagging a pick. This is, he's getting contributions left and right. And, like you said, with his style, it does make it difficult to play offense against because you feel like you have to press. We've seen it with Dan. Obviously, he just won a Super Bowl, holding the ball and just hoping that his opposition makes a mistake. We're seeing it happen quite a bit with the Jags. And, the AFC is a little more geared to defensive teams, I think. So, with the exception of you and Prime, a lot of these guys kind of make and Monty, we'll talk about him in a bit. But, a lot of the AFC kind of makes their money on defense. So, I think it's possible for him to make a run. We'll see what happens in the playoffs, but I think it's possible. Right now, I am also buying Matt in that defense.
Yeah, it's good to point out Etienne also has 23 carries more than the next guy in the NFL. He has 170 carries. The next guy has 147 with Dalvin Cook. So as much as he's a passing team, I think that we still see he's still leaning on what he's best at, and he should continue to do that.
Yeah, obviously, I'm of the camp that passing is more fun. I don't exactly hide that stance. I think, for as much fun as Matt was having passing the ball, I think he also realized that winning is pretty fun, and he's definitely started to keep the ball on the ground quite a bit more, as you just pointed out. So next up, we're looking at the AFC North again. Maybe not the team people expected, but we're talking about an elite offense right now. And that's going to be coming out of Cincinnati with Monty. Montezu and the Bengals. Again, another one-loss team. And this is the polar opposite of Matt. We're looking at 22nd in total yards on defense, 31st against the pass, doing well against the rush with third, 28th in points. However, going down the board on offense, first in total yards, first in pass yards, first in rush yards, first in points. He is averaging 40 points a game. These are Dookie numbers. Are you buying or selling Montezu's offense in Cincinnati?
Now, the thing that I hate is I play him in 49 minutes, so I hate what I'm about to say right now because it's probably going to bite me in the ass.
Well, lucky for you, this is not going to be posted by the time you guys play.
That's good, then, because I am not buying, and I'll tell you why I'm not buying. It's the opponents that he's played. And it's no disrespect to the opponents that he's played, but I have Mike up here, I have ZZ up here, I have Woods up here, and I have Fig up here in these games. And he's put up 42 or more, and it looks like almost in all of those games that he played. And those guys put up a lot of points as well, but they're not known for really being lockdown defenders. They're actually known for being a little bit more offensive style and offensive minded. So I think the opponents that he's played is geared toward his success right now. I do think that his offense is good. I don't know that it's first overall good or even top 5 overall good, just because he's always known to make mistakes later on in the season. We always know Monty to be 6-1 or 9-2 or something like that, and then somehow at the end of the year he finishes 11-6, and you're wondering how. So for now, I'm not buying it, but it does look good this season. He looks like a lot different Monty right now as far as how he's playing.
Yeah, he's a very curious case. It's an interesting offense. It's very much kind of a meta offense. It's Mixon and Gronk. And if you commit too heavy to them, he throws a bomb to Jamar Chase. I think I saw in his last game, I think he had 7 catches with Chase, and I think 4 of them went for touchdowns. So, obviously the streak is in play there when, you're committing too heavy to that underneath stuff with Mixon and Gronk. Gronk leads the team, 33 receptions, Mixon right behind him with 29. The big issue, Burrow, he does have 18 touchdowns in the season. He has 15 picks. And again, like you pointed out, that's not exactly playing elite defenses. The scary game that I see, in the recent is week 5, he plays Dan. And, he got kind of floored. 31-13. Dan's a guy, he's going to adjust to your offense. He's going to, again, take away what you like to do the most. And for Monty, he doesn't exactly hide that. No. This is a good offense. It is definitely not easy to stop, but I don't know that it's, first down the board. I don't think we're talking Dookie levels where, when Dookie touched the ball, he was probably going to put it in the end zone. So I don't think that it's quite there. Like you said, that second half of the schedule gets much tougher. You're on it twice. Obviously, you're playing, in about 40 minutes. Bomber's on it twice. He has Doinks on it. He's got me. He has to play RD again. DW, for, as much as he struggled, still knows how to play defense. And obviously, lots of personnel there with the football team. So we're going to see what happens. For now, I'm with you that I am selling. I don't think I'm selling all the way that I think he's going to come crashing back down to earth. We'll talk about playoffs a little more later. I think we're going to see him in the playoffs this season. But as far as best offense in the SML, I think I'm going to sell that as well. So our third topic here, our last one in the AFC for the buy-sell, we're going to look at the AFC West, and let's talk about Coop. Out of nowhere, Coop all of a sudden is blowing the doors off of people. Started out a little slow, but apparently my Madden hasn't been updated for this last game, but he just, obliterated Colt the other night. A week before that, he, D-Muse was in the chat calling himself F-Muse with a 45-10 loss. Coop just demolished him there. He beat KJ. He beat Field. Tough loss to Meats and Prime at the beginning of the season. Actually, the beginning of the season was just bad. But since then, he's kind of rebounded. He's moving his way back into the AFC West race. And his defense, the Kansas City Chiefs defense, 3rd in total yards, 5th in pass yards, 8th in rush yards, and 13th in points. So this Chiefs defense is playing great right now. He's blowing out his last 2 opponents. Are you buying or selling Coop, maybe figuring something out here in Kansas City?
I'm going to buy. I am buying that Coop is figuring it out. I think that he's had some, like you just said, the blowouts that he just had over 2 quality opponents, 2 10-win opponents, I think, last year. Mm-hmm. And he's doing it with defense. He's doing it with defense, like you said. He has getting crazy pressure. I think he has 2 guys with 7 sacks or more. Mm-hmm. And then he has a couple other guys that you throw in there with like 3 sacks and 2 sacks, and that all piles up, and that means that he's getting 3rd and longs and 2nd and longs, and it's obviously that's a recipe for success. Tyrann Mathieu is a ball hawk on no matter who's using him. Yep. He's one of the top interception guys. And then he's got Devin Bush, so that front 7 is really scary, and then you got Tyrann Mathieu protecting you back there. And then obviously we're not talking about and the sad thing is we're not talking about his offense. I mean, obviously Coop's not known for an offensive guy, but it's the Kansas City Chiefs with a ridiculous amount of talent on the offensive side. So I think he's figuring it out. If he gets a little bit better offensively, he's going to be very scary if he keeps up the way he's playing defense.
Yeah, we saw a very similar pattern with Prime and the Chiefs. The Chiefs are a weird team. So I had them in Madden 21 in Dan's league. And the first season with them is like a real struggle because you just feel immortal with Pat. Like you just feel like you can do anything. You're just chucking bombs up to Hill and Kelsey. You're not paying attention. You're not reading the field. And then before you know it, you're down by 2 scores because you just keep throwing picks. And because to start out, that Chiefs defense is bad. However, you trade for Devin Bush, which, RD, I'm sorry. I'm sure you're kind of, shaking your fist at the air listening to this. So you trade for Devin Bush. He has figured something out with Emmanuel Ogbah. I don't know if you noticed this, but he had Emmanuel Ogbah at the top of the sacks leaderboard before the blip in Jacksonville. He gets him with Kansas City, and here he is leading his team in sacks yet again. So I don't know what it is about Emmanuel Ogbah, but Coop figured it out. And now all of a sudden, he's got this defense that's absolutely buzzing. Like you said, Matthew's picking the ball off. Bush is running around like crazy. He's getting pressure with Jones and Ogbah. And, he's got guys worried. And then when Coop gets the ball, the passing isn't great, before the game with Coop, or not with Coop, with Colts. He's sitting at 9 touchdowns, 13 picks. Obviously, those numbers are better after the Broncos game. Mm-hmm. But the offense is so scary playing off with Hill all the time that it opens up a lot for Kareem Hunt underneath. If Coop just starts, kind of taking his checkdowns and taking the shot with Hill as he gets it, because, it will come open. It's Tyreek Hill. It happens at least once a game. Yep. He's going to be, absolutely deadly. And I think we could really see him kind of follow the Prime pattern of being dangerous with this team in season 2 and beyond. I'm kind of, almost thankful we got blipped because I think Prime with that team was going to be just terrifying in seasons 3, 4, 5, etc. So, maybe I don't know that we're going to see Coop in a Simbardi anytime soon. But I do think that, he can kind of take control of this AFC West that is kind of just open for the taking. So I'm going to buy Coop figuring it out with the Chiefs. So number 2 on the docket here, we're also actually sticking with the AFC West. And this one, obviously it is much has been brought up about my sort of rivalry with this owner, but we're going to talk folding chair. Is Meats dead? We just saw ZZ maybe deliver the final nail in the coffin last game in just an absolute blowout last night. I believe he dropped 42-28. Texans over Chargers. Meats goes to 3-5, sitting at 3rd in the AFC West. Made playoffs last season, did his folding chair act. What do we think about Meats right now? And then kind of transitioning to that, the AFC West as a whole, very weird division.
I don't know if Meats is dead yet because he's like on the cusp of being one of those guys that are better, one of the better users in this league. So obviously, you look at his win percentage total in Madden, it's pretty high. He's like one of the highest winners ever, and and he always makes his runs. If he even when he's 4-5 or 4-6 or whatever the case may be, he somehow squeaks in because his division seems to be a little bit weaker. This Madden, of course. So I think that he is dead. But I think he's like half dead. You know, he's half dead. He's trying to get up from the ground. His heart's beating, but it's not a lot of heartbeat left. It's not a strong pulse there, because he's not figuring it out with this Chargers team. I think he wants a lot more speed out wide, and that's not how the Chargers are. And I don't know. He's not figuring it out. I think he's half dead. And in the AFC West, I think that it's an open field, like you said. It's kind of crazy how any guy can actually win this division, it feels like, but it shouldn't feel that way based on history. It shouldn't feel the way that it does feel based on history because you got guys like Meats, guys like Dom, who are former Simbardi representatives, opponents at least, and they obviously didn't come up and grab the final thing, but they are still good players with history, based on history, and so they shouldn't be struggling like they are. I think Dom is, he's vacationing, he's living. He's been 24 for like 24 years, longer than I don't even know where I'm going with that. But yeah, it's just the AFC West is just it's open, and I think that I'm gonna go with Coop. Coop's coming open with this. He's gonna come away with this with the defense that he's playing, the running that he's doing, and he's gonna figure it out through the air. It's his favorite team. There's a little bit of motivation behind that as well.
Oh, I like that. I like the Coop tout. I haven't exactly figured out who I'm gonna pick to win the division, so I'm gonna talk about Meats first. Yeah, it's very, like you said, I don't think that this team, and I thought this during the team draft, I don't think that the Chargers really fits him. Obviously, we have talked for quite a bit. Meats' passing offense is the drag and the streak. There's not a lot of guys in this team to throw the streak to. Keenan Allen is a stellar receiver. Yeah. He's not the best Madden receiver. No. He did grab Devin Duvernay, which, I'm sure is helping a little bit. He has this rookie, it looks like. This is a tight end, Denzel Stamper, who actually looks like a pretty good tight end, but you can't really throw a streak to a tight end all that often. So I don't think the team is the best fit for him. He's struggling with Justin Herbert, 1840 yards in the season, which is pretty good, but 11 touchdowns and 16 interceptions. So he's turning the ball over quite a bit. Can't stop the run, 30th in rush yards. And this is a team that, normally that's not an issue with guys like Nwosu and Adderley and Derwin and obviously, Joey Bosa. So I just don't know if this team is a great fit for Meats. And I'm going to coin a new title for Meats here. I'm going to go away from the folding chair. Obviously, that's going to never go away. However, for now, I'm going to go away from the folding chair. I'm going to call Meats the SML Mendoza line. And Meats is basically that line of if you can't consistently beat Meats, you probably have no shot at playoffs. If you can consistently beat Meats, you're going to, get in the playoffs pretty consistently and you can win a couple games. If you're 500 with Meats, you're probably a one and done. And I think Meats is just the SML Mendoza line, and you can figure out where you fall in the SML playoff picture based on your record playing against Meats. So I think that's where I'm going to go with the instead of the folding chair for now. We can put that moniker away for a little bit, Meats. I'll give you a break on that one. We'll just call you Meats Mendoza.
Yeah, that's definitely really, really great, actually. I think that's perfect how you put it, because he is right on the, like you said, right on the cusp of being, not one and done type of guy. He can make maybe a run, but maybe he doesn't even make the playoffs. So it's a great way to put it. You're definitely hit it on the head with that.
Thank you. I was pretty proud of that one. I also like the alliteration. I mean, Meats Mendoza, it basically writes itself. As for who my pick is to win the AFC West, and this division's crazy. Like most divisions, it seems they all play each other at the end of the season. I'm looking at DMU's schedule right now. Weeks 14, 15, and 16 is Chargers, Broncos, Chiefs. So that division is going to come down to the wire. I think I'm going to pick Coop. Looking at the schedules.
Nice.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with you and pick Coop. Looking at the schedules, DMU's, it's not exactly favorable. I'm playing him later on today. He's got meets next week. He's got Prime in week 11. He's got NYT in week 12. Meets again in 14, and that's what starts that divisional stretch where he's got meets, Colt, Coop, and then he finishes things out with Spooky and ZZ. So anything can happen in that division. Obviously, every single person in that division right now is within 2 games of each other.
Yeah.
So it's going to be tight. It's going to be fun to watch. Maybe one of the most fun in the SML to watch. But I think I'm going to jump on the Chiefs bandwagon with you. I'm going to buy Coop figuring it out and buy Coop in the playoffs. So
let's go.
Yep. Big fan. Coop, don't let us down here. So our last topic as we round this thing out, and it's going to be a little bit more of that. Early look at the playoffs. So I have the My Madden playoff picture pulled up right now, and a couple glaring names off the list of who's in and who's out right now. A couple of new teams in there. I'm looking at the AFC playoffs. You're not seeing the Cleveland Browns. They're currently on the bubble. In the NFC, you're not seeing Paulie and the Giants. You're not seeing Dan and the Falcons. And right now, it also has a Spooky leading the division, which I believe they're actually tied. Or maybe Spooky hasn't played his game yet, so he might have half a game lead or something. But a couple names, normal, regular playoff names off that list. A couple, new teams in there that you might not expect to see. So for the playoffs, early look here, who do you think doesn't last? Who do you think fizzles out? And which of these, maybe teams that we expect to see that aren't in, you think they're going to make their end of season run and get in there?
Well, I'll start with the AFC. Obviously, the glaring one is, like you said, it's Bomber. I'm not going to even. I'll leave Bomber to you if you want. I'm just not even going to go over him. I'm going to go with the number 2 seed from last season. Actually, last season the Tennessee Titans were the number 2 seed. At this point in the season, they were like almost undefeated, one of the better teams in the league. They finished 12-4, or I don't even 13-4.
Mm-hmm.
And right now they're sitting outside of the playoffs right now. You got 2 teams from his division in the playoffs now, so it's kind of a twist and turn. I think that he's going to be one of the guys that I think is going to miss. I think that Matt already has a pretty comfortable lead ahead of the guys, so he can't afford. Obviously, Matt can't afford to slip some, but I think with Double Rice already being on the outside looking in, Prime is pretty clutch. He's not gonna fumble this and drop out of the playoffs. So I'm going to go with him in the AFC side. NFC, I'm going to say Clink stays in. Obviously, he's back. Paulie keeps saying it. He's back in focus. He's got his rookie QB. He's looking good. That player on defense that he's going to remind everybody of sooner or later. He's going to be a Hall of Famer again, I think. He's already killing it. He's 5th-round pick. He's 6-3. I think he's in. I think he's going to be a lock for sure. But I think who's coming out, that's already out on the outside looking in, that's coming in, I think it is going to be NYT. Again, I got to go based on history. I do like Spooky a lot, but based on history, he's going to probably fall a few games behind that he shouldn't, maybe the guy, especially based on his winning right now, being 5-2, he's expected to beat guys that he now is going to be better record-wise than.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's going to lose a few of those, and I think NYT is going to pull a few of those out. And obviously, NYT just showed that. He beat Dan, I think, everybody was talking about. So
gutsy performance in that one.
Yeah, exactly. It's like he's a guy that's been there, done that. So I have to go with NYT on the outside looking in. Paulie's, I don't know how Paulie's going to do. I'm gonna say that, again, with just the lead that Dump has right now, and then Dump getting Tua might be better for him. Obviously, he's going to air it out a little bit more. He's already running the ball well with Miles Sanders.
Mm-hmm.
I think Paulie might be sitting out this season.
Yeah, Paulie kind of has a tough spot with him. With Dump is playing very well right now, 6-2 with the Eagles. He did just get Tua, and Paulie, I think, has really yet he didn't get the quarterback to replace Jones, which really hurt. I think he might have drafted one, but I don't think he was any good yet. So I think he's given him some development time. Daniel Jones isn't quite it. Saquon, Paulie made a lot about CMC and evasive. He got Saquon, who got evasive. I don't think he's quite figured out. It's not quite an automatic broken tackle, so I think he's still adjusting to that. And the NFC is going to be tight. I mean, we saw the NFC, last season, where you had guys like me and Dan kind of fighting the last couple weeks to get in.
Which is wild. Yeah,
so the NFC is pretty tight. It's going to stay tight. I mean, right now we have Dan sitting at 10th in the conference at 4-5. So you have to imagine he's going to go on a run. He's going to eventually get in. We're just running out of spots if Paulie can't get that division. My team that I think is going to fall out and miss in the NFC is Noel and the Packers. We just saw him lose to Clink, which puts him kind of behind the 8 ball in the division there. That makes their second meeting kind of a win-now game for him, or must-win game for him. The schedule isn't too bad, but it does have a couple pitfalls on it. He has Grams next. He has Woods in Week 11, and Woods is not an easy out, as I saw last season. Paulie in Week 12. We got Beans in Week 14. Then DW, Mike. The Clink game is in 17, and then he finishes with Figs. He can't really afford to drop many of those if he wants to kind of stay in the race. And there's just a couple teams there that can, really give problems. Just looking at, Beans obviously is at 4-4, but in that game, Noel lost a lot of his defense. If Bean gets, Henry lit up early in that game, he could be in trouble, and that's one that he really can't afford to lose in his situation now, because I do agree with you. I think that Clink continues and wins that NFC North. And we just don't have a lot of wild card spots in the NFC.
I think actually after this sim, not to cut you off, but Noel's out after this actually, because NYT's 5-3, Noel's 5-4. I think after this advance, he's probably sitting out already. So good call.
yeah, you're right. I didn't even think about that.
I didn't even see that. Yeah.
So I think he's gonna have a tough time kind of clawing his way back in. It's really gonna come down to, can Clink close out that division, or is he going to lose a couple games down the stretch, which we've seen him do before. So we'll see. AFC side, obviously, like you mentioned, Bombers is the big one. I'm not gonna talk about that too much. I do think though he basically has to sweep you, which is kind of scary, because he really can't afford that many more losses. He still has RD in future as well. He still has Monty twice. So, I mean, his schedule is awful the rest of the way. So I think he's got to sweep one of you or Monty. I don't think he can afford a split in either, and he definitely can't afford to get swept by either of you. His other games are winnable. He has Figs. He has Mike. He has Woods, who, again, it's tough. But we have seen plenty of history with Bomber and Woods to know that Bomber probably has that one figured out. So it's not an easy schedule. We're gonna see what happens with Bomber. I'm not gonna spend too much time on him. Common sense usually tells us that he'll get in.
Yeah.
But we'll see. He's got some big games that he can't afford to lose.
And he's capable of sweeping, sweeping those guys. He's beaten me two of the last 2 times, so he's definitely capable of sweeping us too. So he said, I think common sense, he's going to get in.
Yeah, I don't think anybody would be surprised if Bomber sweeps Monty or takes 1 or 2 from you, and all of a sudden you see him in the playoff race, and it's like nothing ever happened. The division I'm looking at the most here, actually, and it's maybe a little odd, but it's the AFC East. We got Bills, Woods and the Bills at 4-4. However, he is sliding. He started out real hot. He, obliterated Figs in week 1. He then basically made Mike decide to sell in week 2, and then he crushes KJ in week 3. So he started out by just asserting dominance over his division, but then he goes on a bit of a slide. Mike gets him back in week 5. He kind of gets drubbed by Beans. He loses to RD, and he lost to Monty as well. So all of a sudden, 4-4 after a hot start, and there's not a ton of competition in that division. However, I think some people are sleeping on Mike. Mike FML, he gets rid of his quarterback. and he just comes out and he starts slinging the ball with the Hebrew hammer, Artie Zimmerman. I don't know what's going on. This guy should be absolutely awful, but we're looking at a 64% completion percentage, 729 yards, 9 touchdowns to 4 picks. The guy's like shockingly not bad. Mike is 12th in the league in passing yards. In a division, he's only 2 games back despite his tough start. His schedule really is not awful. Spooky, Clink, KJ, Figs, Fins, Bomber in week 14. That's a bummer, but RD in week 15. RD's still sliding. He's got Noel in week 16, KJ again in 17, and then he finishes out with Prime in week 18. So, hopefully this doesn't turn into a situation where Mike's got to win it in against Prime. That would be a nightmare. But
yeah,
I think that Mike honestly can make a little bit of a push here. So, only 2 games back. I think I'm going to go out on a limb. Bold prediction, stone searching, bold prediction. I'm going to say Mike wins the AFC East and we see him in the playoffs this season.
I love it. I hope that would be that's great for storyline. So I hope it does happen. I agree. That guy looks a lot better, Artie Zimmerman. And the thing is, Mike has always been known to, even if he's winning, he has to find a way to get back to 500. So the good thing is, I think he's going to go on a streak to get to 5-5 or whatever his record is right now, 2-5 to get to 5-5. But then he's going to drop a disappointing one that he shouldn't drop, and he's going to beat some good guys again. Then he's going to drop one. So it's going to be interesting, and I do hope to see it because it's going to be nice to see a run with the Hebrew hammer.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm kind of staking my position here on a guy who missed playoffs last season because he got swept by Figs. So, the precedent's not exactly there. This is also a guy who, in Madden 21, I believe needed 1 win out of his last 6 to make playoffs in one season. He lost all 6. So, the track record's not there. However, there's something about the Hebrew hammer. I don't know. We're going out on a limb. We're going to say Mike does it. I'm putting all my eggs in the Mike FML basket. So
yes, sir. Let's get it.
Yep. That's our show for today. I don't have anything else unless you do.
No, let's keep getting these good advances in, and we're getting closer and closer to the playoffs, which always makes it a lot more intense and a lot more fun.
Absolutely, and we hope to be doing this again soon. Hopefully next time,
definitely.
Clink doesn't bail within the last 3 minutes of the episode. But yeah, brutal. SMH my head, if you know what I'm saying. But that's gonna do it for us. Thank you for listening. Best of luck everybody this week with your games, and we'll see you next time.